It's the year 2024 now, and that means time to look towards the future of Deadside. Now, what does that even mean? Well, the past few months have been pretty good for Deadside's development. From the big city of commencing and the updated map, to animals such as wolves and deer now joining in on the fun, the release of the airboat and the small rib boat, added survival elements such as water flasks, drinkable water sources, and this weird rock thing that still screams at you. So much has happened to Deadside within the year of 2023. Also, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel lately. We are on our way to 7,000 subscribers, and a sub to the channel would be absolutely amazing. But that leads us up to today, 2024. What is next for Deadside? What's on the current roadmap? Well, most of us can only speculate, and at the moment of this recording, I know just as much as you guys do. And I know a lot of you are probably still asking for ground vehicles and of course that prone animation, but just know that both of these things are still currently being worked on. In fact, we even saw a long time ago, and this is some really old footage of ground vehicles that I believe leaked back like 2 years ago. I don't know if it was actually leaked or just showcased, but this was before a lot of reworks. Also, just know that the prone animation does take some time, especially for a small team that Bad Pixel has. I always get a comment or two from people who are just fed up from waiting, and I get it. I get your impatience. Firstly, relax. It's just an indie game, nothing to worry about that much. And two, it is a small team that is slowly, and I mean slowly, growing. They have to bring in new people up to the speed of their development, and then you still have developers working on 2 to 3 things, maybe even more at one time. It's not an easy task, and on top of that, it's a multiplayer game, which adds just a bunch more to the workload with servers and netcode. I mean, look at the boats. The boats took a while to release. They even got postponed, but when they did finally come out, it worked great, and they still added updates to them over time. Time is the key word, and this time I think 2024 should be a big year for Deadside. Now, the things we are all looking forward to, well, one, of course, ground vehicles, and this isn't in really any sort of list. This is just me posting my opinions. Now, ground vehicles currently in the game right now, when it comes to vehicles, we have a locking mechanism, storage, and repair mechanics for the boats, which should eventually be also implemented with ground vehicles. Hopefully something like a 4-seater, specifically like the Russian US that we saw, or the equivalent of it. Hell, I'll even take a bicycle at this point. We should also be looking forward to more locations to fully be fleshed out and to explore, and hopefully maybe even a new faction or two, specifically the cannibal faction that was announced a few months ago briefly in a small statement. We don't know exactly what they're going to look like, what weapons they're going to be using. We just know that they're going to be in the game, and I don't know exactly what they're going to look like, but I'm really excited. Now, I know a lot of you guys would like ground vehicles to come first before they improve on the map, but I'm just hoping they take the map that they currently have and flesh that out just a little bit more. I mean, we've already seen the road barriers and more street signs come to the land of Deadside, so it seems like they're getting ready for ground vehicles. We just don't know when. Another thing that people would love to see in the future, and this is way in the future, is mod support. Now, they did say they would look into it after, and I repeat, after the game enters its 1.0 final release stage. They want people to experience Deadside the way they created it to be before mods come in and make other experiences. And of course, also just to make sure that the game runs as smooth as possible before the introduction of mods, because we all know mods can be pretty unstable sometimes. And I know it will be amazing when they finally get released. I mean, just imagine some stalker mutants and anomalies sprinkled into the mix of this open world game. I mean, it's already a pretty good looking game, and it can only get better with mods. And that is definitely a way this game could survive for years, is mod support. I mean, just take a look at DayZ, how long it's been such a popular game, and mainly because of the mods. I would also like to say better movement is needed. Now, this is more of just my opinion, but there's been multiple times, especially in commence, where I feel like I should have been able to vault out of certain windows or on top of ledges. And of course, like I said earlier, proning will be coming. So just imagine ghillie suit wearing bush Wookiees with 50 caliber sniper rifles just ready to pick you off from hundreds of meters away. And this will be a very interesting addition to PvP once it is introduced. And of course, looking back at the roadmap that they put out, they seem to hit almost every single aspect except one, and that's the prone animation. But again, that's great progress from what this game was originally back in the early days. And I know a bunch of my early day players at Deadside know how bare bones this game, well, really was. And now it's starting to feel like a proper hardcore survival game. Of course, it is still pretty casual, and it definitely has a more emphasis on the PvP and PvE aspect rather than the survival one. But I mean, we have fishing, duck hunting, cooking, crafting. It definitely has some great survival elements. And to the haters of this game, and trust me, I know you guys watch these videos, you pretty much comment on them. Look, all I gotta say is relax. Go play some other games, DayZ, Tarkov, Scum, all those other games you can play. And yes, while Deadside might take inspiration from these games, so do they. And I will say I'm excited for the new sleeping bag function coming to the game. It already looks amazing. It looks very comfortable. I would actually sleep in that in real life, which will introduce the mechanic of spawning on top of your sleeping bag. So I'm very interesting. It reminds me of Rust, but it will be very interesting in terms of base building and PvP. So we'll see how that turns out. But other than that, guys, that pretty much sums it up for today's video. This was pretty short, but I will be streaming when this video goes live. So I'll see you in the stream. I'm probably going to be playing Stalker or something like that. So come on by and say hi. Also, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.